Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and in this video I'm going to show you how can we implement biometric authentication in .NET MAUI apps for both Android and iOS. So we'll say MAUI biometric, let's say this MAUI biometric auth or just MAUI biometric. Let's select .NET 9, but it will be same for .NET 8 as well. So let's create this project. Alright, so project is here. For biometric, we are going to add one NuGet package. Let's install that NuGet package. That is going to be plugin.maui.biometric from FreeKeyly. So let's install it. You can see this latest version. This is compatible with .NET 9. If you are using .NET 8, you need to choose 0.0.4. This is compatible with .NET 8. So you need to check which version is compatible with which .NET framework for that. So the latest one, I'm installing it in my .NET 9 application. Let's wait for it to install. Apply. I accept. Alright, so it is installed now. Now let's try to check the documentation of this. So we have this FreeKeyly plugin MAUI biometric on GitHub. Here if we see, it is supported on all platforms. We need to add the permissions. For Android, we need to use this uses permission android.permission.use underscore biometric, and for iOS and macOS we need to add this in info.plist. Okay, so we are going to add this permission in Android. First we'll see in Android, then we'll go to the iOS. So here, in order to add the permission for Android, you might already know in android.manifest.xml file. This is here. So you can right click on this, edit it in some text editor. That means open with. You can open it with XML text editor. You can say okay. Here you are going to get this version. Here you can simply paste that uses permission, or if you don't want to do this, you can simply go and just double click on this file. So what Visual Studio does, it simply opens it in this designer format. So here we have this required permissions. Here you can simply search for that permission and check that. So if we scroll down, the name was use underscore biometric. So this one, you can check this and then save this file. And there is one more place where you can add this. So you can go to the main application, and here on top of everything, right after usings, before namespace, here we can add assembly colon uses permission. Inside this we can add the permission using android dot manifest dot permissions dot use biometric. So using this also we can do this. Don't worry about these errors. Sometimes these are false errors. Now these are gone. So any one of these three options you can choose to add permissions in .NET MAUI for Android. But for iOS we need to use info.plist, that we'll use. So first portion was to add the permission, and then what was the second one? Let's see. After this, if you go to the documentation, here it says implementation. Add the using default implementation we can get using biometric authentication service.default. Or if we want to use it from DI, we can use this builder service add singleton iBiometric, this interface, and the default implementation we can provide this biometric authentication service.default. So it's up to you what approach you want to use. If you want to use this interface injection of this, you can use this, or you can directly access this if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to directly use this. All right, so here what we'll do, we'll go to our main page. .xml. So it has this default markup. Here I'm simply going to duplicate the button, and the name, let's say unlock btn. Text, let's say unlock using biometric, something like this. And then for this clicked, I'm going to have one event, and it will be same for mvvm as well, because there you will simply have your command here, and the code inside this method, this will be same for that command as well. So here what we need to do, we'll simply have our biometric using, what was that, biometric authentication service dot default. So this is our biometric. Now on this we can first check if biometric dot is platform supported, is this platform supports biometric, then we are good. Now on this we have a method which is authenticate async. Here if we see, it expects a parameter of type authentication request. So we need to generate this authentication request. So let's create it. So we'll say var authentication request equals new authentication request. And here we are going to have a couple of properties. Allow password auth strength, description, title, subtitle, negative text, all these things. So title is the thing which will always be there for all the platforms. So here we'll say unlock to continue, something like this. Then we have negative text, that this is required for Android. So here we'll say just cancel. Then we have a couple of other options. You can play around with these. So subtitle, and we have one more, description. So these are on some platforms, these are rendered, on some platform these are not, so you just need to check. But title will always be there on all the platforms, so we should use title and negative text, at least these two. For subtitle, let's try to add, we can see, so let's say this is subtitle text, and for description we'll say this is description, just to see if we can, what all we can see on the Android and on iOS. Okay, so on this authentication async method, we can pass this authentication request. Then we have the second parameter, that is cancellation token. So if you have some cancellation token, you can pass it. If you don't, you can simply use cancellation token dot none, or you can provide the default value. Now what it returns? It returns task of authentication response. All right, we'll get authentication response. Let's say response equals await this call. This should be async void. Now this response, this is of type authentication response. Let's try to see what we have in this authentication response. So navigating to definition, it has these three properties: status, authentication type, error message. So status, this is of type biometric response status, this enum, which has two values, failure and success. So we can use this success. All right, so let's do this. Here what we'll do, we can simply check if response dot status, if this is equals biometric response status dot success. That means biometric authentication successful, right? If that's not the case, inside else we'll say error in biometric auth. Now it could be anything, it could be error, it could be user cancelled, something like this. So when the auth success, let's right now try to just display an alert. So we'll say display alert. The title, let's say success, message, biometric auth success, and the cancel button just okay, nothing else. And if we are in this error mode, we can simply say await, display alert, and here title we can say failure, And the message here we can say simply response dot error message. If this is not here there, we can simply say, let's say, unknown error in biometric auth or anything, and the cancel button, just okay. And now we are good. Now let's try to run this application and see if we can see this. So I'm going to run it on my physical device. There I have fingerprint on Android. So I'm simply going to run it and mirror the device here. App is here. Now click me is working same. Unlock with biometric, and this you can't see anything, but I have this here on my phone. I don't know if you guys can see it. I cancelled it. Let's try one more time. And I don't know how I can show it. It is not coming up. So maybe you can see it that we have this text. And here it has unlock to continue. Then a smaller text. This is subtitle text. Then this is description. And then a cancel button. Okay. So right now there is one more setting which I want to show you. I don't know how can I do this. Maybe. Can you guys see it? I have no idea. Maybe I'll try to put screenshot of this. That can work. Let me try to capture the screenshot and try to show you there. Maybe if I cancel it, you can see this error here, the failure and authentication failed and all. And if I do the correct fingerprint, then we can see biometric auth success. That means that thing works. Now it has one more option, that is allow password auth. If we set it true, so if we have fingerprint plus the pin or password added in our mobile app, then it is going to show us that biometric fingerprint, and it is going to show us an option to add the password or use the password to unlock. So I added this allow password auth. Now if we run it, and if we say unlock using biometric, it does something here. How can I show you? Alright, so just trust me, it works. That only I can tell you. Now this is fine. It works. This is the main logic which is going to work. Now in real applications, we have two different places or types of these authentication biometric when we need. So one is if we want to protect some page or some feature or some section of our application. So for example, we'll open the app, we can navigate 2-3 pages, and after that maybe for all other pages we need authentication. One is this. So for this thing is going to work, because here you will have this button click or on navigation. Whenever you need this biometric authentication, you can use this, and after successfully authentication, you can simply redirect or navigate to that particular page where user wanted to go. The second place is, what if our entire app is going to be behind this biometric authentication? That means we can't access our app without authenticating using this biometric. Okay, so for this what we can do, the internal logic is going to be same. We just need a place where we can have, before rendering the app, before showing the app, we can show all these things. So for this what we can do, we can have multiple options. One is we can have a page, let's say auth page or biometric auth page, and you can simply go to app shell and you can add that page here, the first item in the shell. So whenever app is going to start, it is going to render that page, and on that page, in on appearing, you can have this logic which will simply show the biometric, and if we are successful, then we can programmatically go to the next page in our shell. Okay, now if you don't want to do that, you can simply go to the, let's say, app.xml. Here what we can do here, we can have some logic here. The logic is going to be, first if we see, this window, this is the main thing which is creating our application. So here we have written new window, new app shell. For .NET 8, you will see something like this: main page equals new app shell. So the main core concept is going to be same. So for .NET 8, this is like this. For .NET 9, like this. So we'll see. Now what we can do, we'll create this. If you go to this window, here we are setting this page, which is this page property. And if we go to this page, here this is actually a get set with a bindable property. So this page, this is kind of global page, the main container of our application, we could say. Whatever we set like this, that we can simply access using let's say I'm going to have some method here. I'll say private void whatever it is. We can simply access it using app.current.windows. So we mostly create single window application in .NET MAUI for Windows, not Windows, for Android and iOS. So I'm considering it as single window only, but if you are creating multi-window application, you need to handle it accordingly basically. So window 0 dot page, this is going to be this app shell. So now what we can do, instead of doing this thing directly, I'm going to duplicate this, comment this out. We need to open that biometric related stuff here. So what we can do, we can have a page, the same biometric auth page. Now because we don't need any UI on that page, right? So that is, the page is going to be purely C# logic. So we can have that as C# page. So what you can do is you can simply have a class, let's say biometric auth page, and it should be a subclass of content page, and our content page is ready. Here what we can do, we can simply use override on appearing this thing, and here we can have that logic, this auth logic. So we can simply copy this entire code inside this method, copy it and paste it. Now we are good here. We need to make it async, so we'll say async, save it, and now we are good. Now what we'll do, we can simply remove this ABC. Now here when we are creating this window, instead of doing new app shell, we'll say new biometric auth page. And when we'll do this, it will simply open, it will come here, it will initialize this page, this on appearing is going to be called, and we'll see this biometric authentication. Now after successful authentication, that means when we are here, we need to go to the shell, then we'll render our entire application. Okay, now how can we do this? As I already showed you, that we can use app.current.windows and then this. But what I prefer, you can do that here also if you want to. Inside this, instead of doing this thing, you can simply say app.current.windows 0.page equals new app shell. But what I prefer for these cases, although this is static and we can access it here, it will work, no problem. But I prefer to have these directly inside this public partial class app only. So here what I'll do, I'll simply create a static method here, public static void, let's say set shell. And I'm going to have this logic, this app.current.windows 0.page equals this thing. I'm going to have it here. And then I'm going to simply call this set shell from here. So we'll say app.set shell. And then just return from here. We don't need to do anything else. Now, because this is the first thing we are doing, you can maybe have multiple times. Maybe you can have some max retry kind of thing, because our app depends on this. If user press cancel, it will come here, and after that we are not going to see anything because this page is empty. So you can maybe repeat this step in that case 2 or 3 times, then say maybe alert, then show alert that you can't continue with the app if you are not authenticating using your fingerprint or face, whatever it is. Okay, now let's try to run our app and we'll see if this thing is working. Let's stop everything and let's try to run the app again. app is coming up, and you see this black screen because we have this unlock to continue this fingerprint thing here. Okay, so if I say cancel, we have this empty blank white page, which is this biometric auth page, because we don't have anything on the UI of this. So we can see this authentication failed, authentication cancelled. We'll say okay, then nothing is happening. This is what I was saying. If user presses cancel, nothing is happening here. We should at least maybe try one more time, or maybe if you are not doing this, we should close the application, quit the application here, or maybe we can have some button and all to give proper information, proper flow. Let's try to restart. This time I'm going to authenticate. So we'll see if we are getting redirected to shell or not. So this is here. If I say this, we are here on the shell. So that means this flow is working and we are good with this entire flow.